When it comes to the illegal migration crisis in this country, the Labour Party, until now, have been pretty silent on the issue. But now, Keir Starmer has some policy ideas. But his stupid policy ideas have been completely destroyed by Lee Anderson. Oh yes, Lee Anderson is back to tell the truth, to be a straight-talking politician. Anyway, this is about Keir Starmer going on LBC to come up with some sort of solution for the border crisis. Of all people, the Labour Party, who've been pretty much consistently in favour of mass migration and open borders, even Starmer himself, until 10 minutes ago, who was actually promoting free movement of open borders, he has now, because of the pressure, public pressure over the border crisis, he has to pretend to be worried about that. So his idea to fix it is to tackle the people smugglers network. And if you do that, then the whole problem will be resolved. Lee Anderson disagrees.
The problem has got to be dealt with. The crossings of the channel, nobody should be making that crossing, and we absolutely have to deal with it. So on that issue, we're very, very clear. I've always said, in the end, the only way to deal with is to break the criminal gangs that are driving this. They've been driving this as a vile trade, making...
Oh, God. Anyway, this is his key policy idea. Obviously, everybody knows, even a small student at Oxford or Cambridge would know that you have to go after the criminal gangs, the people smugglers. That's common sense. But you cannot tell us that by simply breaking up those gangs, then it's going to solve all the problem. That's not how it works when it comes to black market. It's the same with drugs or anything else. So we had Lee Anderson saying, well, this is absolutely rubbish. Because he actually went to France to look at the migrant camps and everything else. Lee Anderson said, for thousands of years, cruel gangs have been trading in humans. Trying to break up gangs achieves nothing. Swift removal to a third country will sort it out. You are a lawyer, not a leader. Absolutely spot on, Lee Anderson, because there is an issue with, obviously we have to go after those who are doing people smuggling on a regular basis, proactive networks right now in France, but there will always be someone else to take up their place. That's just part of humanity. Throughout history, it's the same thing with anything illegal, black markets. You know, we've talked about drugs, we've talked about alcohol in New York during Prohibition days. It's always, as long as there's sin, there will be someone who could provide that sin as a service. And especially when it comes to the human network. And the issue is, then you have The Guardian, for example, coming up with something even more stupid, saying, this is an article literally this morning, Monday, 6th of March, Peter Walker, who is a political correspondent of The Guardian, saying, well, the Tory plan to stop the boats, which is basically, this is the policy that we talked about yesterday. Suella Braverman is going to fully ban entry to the country via small boats, officially. This Peter Walker guy says, these plans will actually fuel the people smuggling network. It's going to make them even more active. And in this article, Peter Walker says, if you ban the small boats, they're going to use the lorries. Firstly, on a much smaller scale, the lorry is still happening anyway, but it's almost been eliminated, mostly because the lorries, the routes using the lorries from France to the UK, that was the original route the last few years, the last decade or so. But that was already addressed. We just increased the checks at the border in France before the lorries managed to go through the English tunnel, the Channel Tunnel, and come to the country. Because we did that, it now made it harder for the people smugglers to use that route. And then they realized, oh, let's try the dinghies and use the English Channel to just cross the channel. That's why that went up. So we've already covered the lorries network. So as long as the government continues to do the checks as they do, on both sides, France and the UK, they are very good at checking the lorries, then by eliminating the small boats threat, it's not going to increase the lorries threat. That's already gone down because we've sent them all to the boats. So if you also get rid of the boats, but if this policy actually works, this new legislation that we announced that Suella is doing to officially ban by changing legislation by either sending them back to the original country or back to France or to Rwanda. Which again reminds me of how much I dislike the Rwanda plan because of the technicalities of it. We still signed this agreement because we agreed to send some migrants there to Rwanda, but on paper we also agreed to take some migrants from Rwanda. But that might have just been a gimmicky agreement just to get the Rwanda and the government in Rwanda to agree to sign that contract. But they might not do it, but I still don't really like that policy, that part of the treaty. Having said that, the whole point of it is continue the checks when it comes to lorries, as you do every day. Eliminate and put an official ban on the small boats, then it's fine. I don't really care what the people smugglers are going to do in France. If you make this country less attractive for the migrants to come here, and if you make it harder for them to be accepted, then you can solve the problem. But again, you can't stop all the new migrants. You have to do something about the ones who are already here. For the next few years, we must stop all migration. We need to go net negative migration. We need to deport so many people who are here right now who shouldn't be here. Then when you do all that, and you also ban entry, then you can create a new, actually normal and sensible migration system in this country, which is based on numbers and vetting and actual process. But again, that's a long time to come. Let me know what you think. I'm Mahyar, Tousi, and we are the media.